My name is Anwar Ghafur, and this is my story for the Colourful Heritage. I was born in 1946, 6 months before the partition. We came here to Glasgow 1955, beginning of 55. And my father was here before. He came here in 1946. He left, and then he came back, went back to Pakistan, and he stayed there for about 6 months, and then he came back again, and that's when he decided he wanted to bring his family over. And that's how, my big brother and my younger brother and three of us came from Pakistan in 1955. But I can remember a little bit after we came here to the house that we lived in. It was in 112 Nicholson Street, and it was on the top floor, and the toilet was outside on the landing. But then when we came, about a few months later, I think my father decided that he wanted a toilet inside the flat, so we got that. This is how, our story began when we came to Glasgow. When we first started school, it was very difficult. We couldn't speak anything, we couldn't understand the teachers or the children that were all around us. But gradually, I think we tried to mix in with them, and the teachers were very, very helpful. They tried really hard to make us feel comfortable. We had no problems like that way. But it didn't take long for us to get settled into our environment. It was very easy, I think. I didn't find it difficult. The Islamic school that we went to was on the first floor. On the ground floor, it was a seamen's club that used by the people that used to travel. There was Hafiz Nur Muhammad. He taught us how to read the Quran and a little bit of teaching us how to read Urdu and speak Urdu. But all of us, my brothers, every boys and girls were taught by him. So he was such a nice person. He was really very good to us, and the way he taught us was very, very good. When we went to school, my mother made us wear shalwar kameez. It wasn't a kameez she used to make us dress. She used to sew herself. It wasn't a kameez. All I remember was she used to make dresses for us and a shalwar. And the dupatta, we had to wear that when we went to masjid, which we had to do. And I didn't wear Western clothes. My mother wouldn't let me. My father wouldn't let me wear Western clothes. And then the Urdu classes, we used to have exams at the end, which I think was quite helpful for me, because I can read Urdu a little, not too much, just a little bit. I can read Urdu and write Urdu as well. Because I hadn't had anything in Pakistan, I didn't have anything in Pakistan then, but everything it's been here, everything I did with my life, I did it here, read the Quran, read some Urdu, learn some Urdu. 3 years later, we moved to Pollokshields, and that's the part I remember most, when we moved to Pollokshields, when we went to the primary school in Melville Street. By that time, I had adjusted really well. And afterwards, after primary 7, I went to the Houston school that was newly built. I went there for a year. That's how after that, my father, I was about 16 then, but my father had decided by then, my cousin was over from Pakistan, and he said, I think we should marry you now. By 16 and a half, I was married. And after that, my education stopped. That's one thing that we really wanted to do for our children. We wanted them to have a good education. And that's what my father wanted as well. He wanted to have, but because I was a daughter, I wasn't allowed to do that. But my brothers were able to go into that. But at that time, I think he was right. He was right. I'm not saying that I was denied anything, but no, whatever they did was right. Parents should be able to provide good education for their daughter, so that they can no matter what happens in their life, they're able to stand on their own 2 feet. I got married in my parents' house in Maxwell Road, 320 Maxwell Road, and the nikah was performed by Hafiz Nur Muhammad. And at that time, my parents, we weren't really well off. My father was the only one working, and there was all his children. My mother felt really, really, I don't know, she was just saying that she had to borrow a necklace from somebody to put on me because they didn't have anything. And then I said to my mother, please don't worry, I don't need anything. I've got everything, I've got my parents, I'm getting married. Please don't think of anything. At that time, my parents felt really, really bad that they couldn't do anything for me when I got married. But I've had their blessing, and by their blessing, mashallah, I've got everything. It was just a small gathering in the house. My mother and my Auntie Khadija and my other aunt, they cooked the food for everybody. And then I went to where my husband was staying. He was staying with a relative, and I went there. He had no house then. But mashallah, we've achieved everything that we want. It was hard, but we made it. It was through hard work we were able to do it. I got married, we had no home, nothing at all. My husband was working as a bus conductor, and nothing else. You know, we didn't have any money or anything. We had to look after his family back home as well, which was very, very difficult, you know. The first shop was in Allison Street, and we used to open about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I had two children by then, and I used to stay in the shop all day with my children, looking after them and helping my husband to run the shop as well. And we didn't have any car or nothing at all. We used to walk home at the middle of the night, close the shop at 12 o'clock at night time, and walk home with the children in a pram. And it was a struggle. It was really very, very hard. But we managed to bring up 4 children, and we managed to look after our family back home as well. When I started working in the shop, everybody used to, people used to say to my father, why is your daughter working in the shop? Why is she talking to the English people? She shouldn't be doing that. And when I learned to drive the car, I think they wouldn't let me drive the car. They said, you can't drive. You're a girl, you're a married woman. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be working in a shop. But my father didn't listen to anybody. He just said, just keep on doing what you're doing. Help your husband, look after your children, and there's nothing wrong with you working in a shop, driving a car. And then when my father became ill, my brothers used to work, and I was the one who used to take him to hospitals for checkups and everything. That's when he decided, it's very good that you're able to drive and you're able to do everything for me. And which I was really very happy that I was able to do that for my parents. I think once we came here, 3 of us came from Pakistan, 2 of my brothers and myself, and 3 were born here, 2 brothers and 1 sister, they were born here. But by that time, we'd really settled. It was difficult for my father to think that he would go back home. I'd got married by then, and my brother, he'd got married. And once my brother got married, my father became, ill. He had a stroke, and then he couldn't do anything. He couldn't think of going back home. It was just, life was just going to be here after that. But 4 years later, he passed away. So there was none of us would think of going back home. My mother or us, we couldn't think of going back. We just wanted to, this was our country, this is where we were brought up, and this is where we were going to stay. British Muslim, that's my identity. There's nothing else, The fundraising for the Central Mosque was very important, and I think it was very, very good that everybody was able to gather around and make decisions, and the contribution that they made was very important. We didn't have any dinners for fundraising. It was all just telling each other let's do this, let's do that, you know, let's contribute to making our central mosque. And I think we did, and they used to go around the shops collecting money from the shops. You know, all the shops that were open, people used to go and collect money from them. This is for the central mosque, and all of us used to contribute towards that. The masjid played a very important role in my life. It was telling us who we were, you know, our religion, which was very important, telling us to how to look after your parents and how to, that's what we were taught in masjid. It's important to look after your parents and listen to your parents. And whatever they do is, you know, that's the most important thing in religion. It was very important for us when we went to masjid. I think that gave us an identity of who we were and what we were supposed to do and what we were supposed to do in life. Things I would like to leave for my grandchildren, especially my granddaughters, is education is more important for you. Try and make a life, stand on your own 2 feet, and don't forget your religion. That's most important. That's the thing that will carry you through life. Religion is the most important thing as well. Education, religion, and listening to your parents, listening to what they're saying, and communicate with your parents. And parents should communicate with their children, learn what they want and what they want in life. I think that's the most important thing.